Hello, I'm Fast Lawyer. Today we're going to do a Let's Play and initial impressions review for Sword Reverie VR, a game released on the Steam store today, January 21st, 2022, in early access for all the major VR headsets. It normally retails for 20 bucks. It's on a release sale, 20% off, and I got a free Steam key through the Steam Creator Connect program.
The elementals have set up several encampments where our outposts used to be. I can pick up tracks and clues at those encampments to track down the centaur and its army. I marked their locations. Let's go, Slowpoke!
You do have full locomotion, smooth and snap turning available, along with teleportation. Let me show you some of the settings before I continue here. So, I do have it graphics on high. I did try Ultra, but what I noticed with Ultra is that there was a lot of blurriness in Ultra. I'm not sure why. I do have HMD Orient, and the reason I normally prefer controller-based orientation for my locomotion, but what I noticed is with a lot of the sword strikes, it really affects it when you're choosing controller-based movements. You know, if you're trying to move while you're doing the melee, it doesn't always work, so that's why I'm using HMD orientation. It does recalibrate your forward position. A lot of the enemies are just reskins, and that's really one of the most disappointing parts of this experience. And the combat, I mean, there is some variation to the combat, but there's really not enough. Not for my taste, anyways. This is one of the This is one of the. I'm just gonna have to let him go because I don't want to get other. So one of the variations is. Okay, that was one of the variations to the combat, is that we have ranged enemies now. So before there weren't ranged enemies. Since level 7, now there are ranged enemies. There's total of 12 levels, and this game can be beat in 2 to 3 hours. It took me about an hour and a half to get here to level 8. And I'm sorry, I'm not even paying attention. I'm not even on the right. So you look for weak points. I did upgrade my sword, so there is a upgrade system here. You can craft materials to upgrade your sword, and I did that, and I just got a recent upgrade, so I'm doing a lot more damage than normal. You see some of the troubles with the animations, she's just running in place there, so that there are some issues with the gameplay. And you can look down and you can see that, okay, well, that's really what I wanted to do, not the other thing. So there are some gesture-based attacks. I can do a cleave, and I can also do a ranged attack, but it's hit or miss as far as which one actually goes off. These guys are annoying. They teleport too much. Can I can't? Oh, man. Oh, man. Okay, we got him. We got him. So, you have to keep guard of your mana. My mana is pretty low right now, so that does stop you from going from combat to combat real quick, unfortunately. So, as long as we don't face the ranged guy, we're not going to use any of our special abilities because we're trying to get our mana back. So, but as you see, the enemies look pretty much similar. They just have different colors. I guess I should explain what the colors are. Gold is kind of like just a general kind of enemy. It doesn't have a weakness or a strong point, and you use gold against gold, basically. especially if you can only. The one thing about gold enemies is that you do need to use gold to block their ranged attacks. So that's the only real thing about gold enemies. But you can use the other attacks. Fire is obviously weak against water, so you want to use your water elemental. My sword does bonus damage, but I forgot what it did bonus. I think it does bonus fire damage. So, but we're not facing grass enemies. So against grass enemies, I do extra damage. Although I might want to use it against gold too. Do we want to? Yeah, we want to. You know what? I think it's good to farm enemies just because you get materials sometimes from them from killing them, although I'm not really getting them at this point. I think the one thing this game really does need is XP for killing enemies. So the benefit for killing enemies right now is just the materials, but they don't always drop them, so... Yeah, sometimes you don't get anything from your...
No, we've fallen into a trap. We need to fight our way out of it. I'll provide cover fire.
So you see the combat is a little janky. There's a good premise to the combat because you do have to parry, and then you can counterattack, and they'll be weak to your... I thought there was a... Oh, it's over there. Is that just a teleport, or does that signify something important? Huh. Okay, there's a bunch of... What are you shooting at? Okay. Okay. I don't like those ranged enemies attacks that you can't really do much about. You just kind of have to watch out. Jeez. Okay, alright. Well, we'll eventually get to them, I guess. And so combat has been pretty repetitive, you know, after the first few levels. Like I said, the only variation has been the ranged attacks, but it really didn't add much that was actually pleasant. And so attacks really aren't that difficult to parry. Okay, so now I'm going to try to get these ranged people. She kind of doesn't do anything in combat. As far as I can tell, she really hasn't done anything. Now, like I said, you can't really get to them. Shoot. So you gotta use up your ranged attack, and you use up mana for that. And... okay. Not sure where am I. Oh, okay. Well, I think I have to attack these guys over here. So, water is weak against grass. And I do... okay, so now we can attack these guys over here. Again, I don't like this game design. I don't think it's very good game design here. Shoot.
We need to gather more information at the outposts about the elementals. We can't risk a head-on encounter with them.
That guy's too far away. I'm not sure I can do anything. So I'm just gonna run away. I'm not sure what else I can do there. I have very little mana, and I require ranged attacks to beat them. Again, I'm not a big fan of that game design there. Okay, alright, wow. And so I did get some health pots, so that's good, I guess. And I think we're supposed to go back now. And again, I have so far been going after every enemy. I don't really try to avoid them, except for those ranged ones, if you can. So a copper ingot is pretty powerful because that's a very important material to upgrade your sword. As far as the voice acting, you can't really tell here because she's really talking by herself, but it's actually pretty good for the most part. In context with the story. Story hasn't been too bad. I wouldn't say it's great. Gotta get rid of these range guys first. Oh, he got me good. And you want to avoid damage because you pretty much have to go through the whole level. You just kind of get lucky with getting health pots. I don't think you can really rely on getting health pots. So let me go back to gold. Since if you face enemies of different elements, that's what you want. And there's water here. And again, the reason I'm beating enemies so badly is because I just upgraded my sword a little while ago because I was grinding enemies wherever I saw them. So that is the benefit of grinding enemies instead of trying to avoid battle. I've heard that you can beat this game really quickly if you avoid battles. But that kind of defeats the purpose of the game, I think. So in this case, you see he's blocking with his sword. I can go for his leg. And if I can't tell where the attack is coming from, I can always just back up. So you can always tell, yeah, I only took one strike so far, so not too bad. Come on, man.
This outpost was built to warn Dorland in case of a large-scale elemental invasion. That group below looks very suspicious. They could reveal clues about the attack on the castle. Let's see what they are conspiring.
Again, I really don't like these ranged attacks, mostly because they just go back, like, constantly. Okay, alrighty. What's I guess the easiest way is just through that way. There is a lot of combat, so there is some story, but again, it's hard to tell the story just because there's so much combat in between. There's so many mobs of enemies, and as you can tell just from this level has had the most variety so far. But even then, it's just reskins, so they're either reskins, they just added ranged enemies. Ranged that is very annoying the way it's designed. And the combat has stayed the same. There's been no change to the combat since the start of the game. I did experience one bug where again, I hate those ranged guys. We're gonna have to just get away from them. And the one bug that I ran into at the end of a level, the game just I guess you would call it a soft crash, where I didn't get a blue screen or anything, but the game just was stuck and I couldn't get out, so I had to manually quit the game. And again, I can't. Jesus, that's the last thing you want is. Okay, all right. Well, guess we didn't really need to worry all that much. Okay. So for this one, we definitely want to get gold, just because, as you see, there's all kinds of different elements. They're mostly gold, though. And God. Jeez, I'm just taking lots of damage from this range guy. And he's in a spot where I'm having difficulty really just... Jeez. Okay, I still have lots of health though, so I'm still okay. You've been a bad boy. You get a spanking. You get a spanking. You get a spanking. You get a spanking. What the hell? Okay.
Strange. This is a map of Fort Warden with the mark of the Phoenix Lord. Why are they securing an abandoned fort?
I don't know. Okay, where do we go now? So this has been one of the longest levels, actually. The last level was actually pretty short. So the levels do vary as far as how long they are. And
from what we pieced together at the outpost, it doesn't seem like the elemental centaur is in Fort Warden. We should have enough information to make a plan of attack. We can either explore the last outpost or sneak inside the fort now.
oh, come on, man. That ranged guy keeps getting... And I don't want him to get more enemies involved. Okay, got rid of him. Now I can do water. Oh no, fire actually. Fire. What am I doing? I'm just taking damage here. I'm still good though. Jeez, those things are just... I hate these ranged attacks. Oh my, they're just endless. It's not even that they're so hard, it's just when you get close. Oh wow, that was so painful, so aggravating. Is that a gold one or is that a green one? I think it's green, so I think we're good. Hopefully there's a health pot here. Oh, thank you. That's what I needed. I got lucky there. You're not guaranteed to get a health pot with those chests. It's actually not very common. But I got lucky. Okay, alright. So I think we're almost there. So we get water now. And I don't think we need to watch out for that guy. I think he's pretty far away. There's just not much I can do against those ranged guys, especially where they are.
Fort Warden has changed. This used to be a peaceful village on the outskirts of Dorland. That elemental warrior carries the Phoenix marking. Let's kill him to track down the centaur.
Okay, finally. Okay, now I can relax, I guess. Okay, finally. Wow, okay. We're finally good here. I didn't expect this level to be this long, since none of the other previous ones were this long. And actually, the one right before this was very short. Just a few minutes. But it's just been repetition, really. Like, I've already faced...
The rest of the elementals are across the river southeast from here. That centaur. The elemental warriors are referring to it as Trampler, champion of the Phoenix Lord. I knew it couldn't be a coincidence.
Oh, there's still more? Jeez, I thought this level was over here. Wow. Okay. By the way, your avatar body is actually pretty small and your sword is very big. So, you know, disproving that whole thing about small hands.
Wait a moment, hero. There is something I must do. I swear I am close to the truth. I will avenge your deaths. No matter what it takes. This is
Now-
my parents' grave. My mother grew up in Warden. That is why they were buried here after they were killed in an ambush by the elementals. Magnus? Oh, he isn't my real father. My father was the guardian before him. Like you, Magnus was his apprentice. After my parents' death, Magnus took me in and raised me as his own daughter. I know Magnus just wants to keep me safe, but I must find out the truth behind my parents' death.
Okay, level complete finally. I did notice some graphical issues. There's some pixelation along the edges, as long as some occasional pop in. And as you see, my HP has gone up, my attack has gone up. I've got new materials. Yeah, I don't actually want to do that. I want to go back to the guild hall. Yeah. So after your level's over, you do have the option of going back to the guild hall. And I just want to show something real quick. So the next chapter is chapter 8. So you can see here, there's that's what I want to build. Is I want to see what the materials are. And wow, so none of those materials, but for the other stuff, I probably do have the materials, but I don't want to make it. So I just need one more copper ingot for the needle. So, oh, by the way, here I am. So you can see the scales are off. I got a little avatar body and big sword. As far as my initial impressions, I have to say the combat is dull. It's not very fun. And that's the biggest thing about this game. That's what you'll be doing the most. And that's a shame because there seems to be like good voice acting, and I like the art style, but again, the worlds are a little bland. There's been some variation, but a lot of it looks similar. So as far as what I think of this, it's in early access, so it definitely has a chance to be better. But for right now, the best score I could give this is a 5 out of 10. I mean, it's budget price, so that's good. It's only $20, 20% off on release, so it doesn't cost a lot. But this has a ways to go before it'll be enjoyable. Combat has to be there has to be more depth to it, to make it fun. There needs to be more enemy variation. There needs to be more to the levels. You can't just go from combat to combat to combat. There needs to be something else in between, to keep you interested. You can't just repeat combat, which is what this game seems to do a lot. And especially when it's the same type of enemies, just reskinned. And the ranged enemies here are just very annoying. But like I said, I do like the art style. As we don't really have a JRPG in VR that's built from the ground up for VR, that right now I would say, wow, it's really good. This is the start of something that could be good in the future, but for right now, I don't think it's good right now. And so I would say I would recommend this only for those who want to support this project, want to see it succeed. So, for those people, I can say, yeah, there's enough here in early access for you to buy it if you want to support development. For everybody else, though, if you're looking to buy a game to get a good experience right now, this is not it. Because, like I said, the combat is just a slog. It's not interesting. There's the foundation there for what might be good in the future. Like I said, there's parry, and then you counter. You find weak points. That's all good. It's just didn't come together. It wasn't executed well, so it just doesn't come together in a very meaningful way. Like I said, the combat is just too repetitive. You're just repeating the same actions over and over again, so it just feels dull. It only took a few combats for me to get bored, and then it's just from level 1 all the way to here. It's just been repeating the same stuff. The only thing that changed is the ranged enemies, but the ranged enemies are pretty bad. Anyways, that's my initial impressions of Sword Reverie. I give it a 5 out of 10. Neutral recommendation. Buy only to support development. That's the only reason I can think of to support this right now. But, for some of you, there might be a reason to support development. Because like I said, there is a nice foundation that can be built upon here. It's just not there yet. Anyways, I'm Fast Sawyer. If you enjoyed my video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, have a wonderful day. Goodbye.